the perspective I would say for our young women is you've got some powerful forces out there that are mainlining these 1,000+ year old ideas into your brain. Avarice, envy, greed. And to think that you are the one person who can be immune to those, be careful.
Life can be really chaotic, especially for a young woman, especially with social media and technology and distractions and pressure and all these things.
I, as an individual, I'm going to ebb and flow in my life. I'm going to have these high highs and low lows. But your family is kind of like saying, oh, it's good. And I do the same, and we do that for each other. But when that chaos kind of moves on and changes, you will miss that chaos. So learn to surf, learn to bathe in the glow of the chaos. And that is your gift.
Hey, and welcome back to Girl Dad, the podcast. I'm your host, Madeline Anderson, and today we have Chris Collard joining us on the podcast. This is officially my first in-person podcast, so I'm really excited to have him on here in Austin. We talked about the importance of spending time in nature, spending time with your family, being really intentional about your time with your family, and human connection in general and how important it is. I hope you enjoy this episode, and Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Pleasure to be here. Appreciate
it's such an honor to have you.
Likewise.
This is
honored to be here.
My first in-person podcast, and you said it's your first podcast, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So this will be fun.
Awesome.
So you have one daughter and two sons.
I do.
And today I really want to talk about your relationship with your daughter, Elle, who's a wonderful human. But I want to first hear a little bit about you and your family and your background and a little bit about Elle as well.
Sure, absolutely. So born and raised Vancouver, Canada. Spent some time in Vancouver Island, the interior British Columbia. So native Vancouverite and British Columbian. My wife and I met up there, and we came to Austin, Texas in 1999. I was accepted to UT Austin Business School. Came down here, didn't know very much about Austin. In fact, we were driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, reading the guidebook about Austin. Oh, it's got this. Oh, it's called the Emerald City. And so what an amazing, fortuitous life choice, because I absolutely love Austin, and it's been an awesome place to raise kids. Went to business school, and as part of business school, we you have your internship. So 2-year program internship. I did an internship up in Detroit City with General Motors. And during that internship, we had our first child, my daughter Elle. So she was born. My wife was working. I was in school. So that was an interesting start to everything. And finished my internship. Spent what I like to call my time there at Generous Motors was very good to me. But wanted to come back to Austin, and came back to Austin. So we, along that journey, along that path, also had another baby, my son Hunter, who's 2 years younger than Elle. He's 23. And then came back to Austin along that journey, also ended up having a third child. So we are what I call the members of the Tres Niños Club. This is the right amount of chaos. And been here effectively since 2000. And super, we're in an awesome community here. It's a very, there's an amazing spirit of growth and health and positivity, and I feel very privileged to be a part of that and feel like I have a role as an elder and sharing some lessons. So my daughter's now 25, my middle son is 23, and my youngest is 18. It's his senior year. He's graduating, going to play baseball up in Amarillo, Texas.
Congrats.
Yes.
That's fun. So
that's a whirlwind tour, a bit of my whole background. You asked specifically about Elle, though, and let me try to be cogent and clear and insightful in my answer. We were my wife and I were very intentional about in any relationship, and I think you'd appreciate this. You have successful relationships. You have some amazing intersection points, and like, wow, very specifically, we get along on these, and we align on these things, and then some differences. And I think the combination of those things can make a successful couple. And sometimes unsuccessful couples, it's too much of this, and maybe even too much of this sometimes, but the right level. And one of those intersection points was children and raising and wanting children, and had some amazing mentors, had some amazing inspirations up in Vancouver. And so we were very intentional about having Elle. We're very intentional. And I envisioned a female. I envisioned a daughter, and we had a daughter. And our philosophy was very much around, I'll call it attachment parenting. So I want my child to be with me. I'm having a child because I love my child and I want them around me. I remember this was years before we had Elle. We were flipping through, it was Vanity Fair or something like that. It was an article on Wayne Gretzky. It was Wayne Gretzky and his family. And they're on this big giant bed, his whole family. And we're like, that's it. So one of the things as our family, I mean, we just took 2 king beds, smushed them together. That was our family bed. Like that was our, so we like did things together. We slept together. We went out, and it was so very much attachment parenting. My wife is by training a Montessori teacher, so has a really strong grounding in early childhood development and honoring the child and honoring the child's journey through various phases. And as part of being intentional, put that into practice and put that as a guiding philosophy.
Wonderful. And speaking of Montessori teaching and kind of, working with your hands and being outside, I heard you just got back from a family camping trip.
Yes.
I would love to hear more about this. I used to go camping with my family. Actually, kind of still do, but it's more rare these days. And I just think there's so many beautiful core memories to be made outside in nature with your family. Great conversations, fresh air, everything. So
amen, hallelujah.
Yeah, tell us more about that experience.
I mentioned I was from Vancouver Island. There's the Pacific Coast Trail out on the west coast of Vancouver Island. It's a 75-kilometer national park, and you have to sign up for a lottery. They only allow so many people on it. It has been on my bucket list forever. I had some opportunities when I was younger, and I was like, oh, okay. So we went January, beginning of this year, signed up for the lottery, got 7 spots for the end of June, this June that just passed, and kind of juggled a little bit who was going to go with us. But at the end of the day, it was my wife and I and Elle. We were hoping that 1 or 2 of my sons were going to go. They didn't. But then my wife's sister and her husband and family went. So we did half of the trail, 4 days, 3 nights sleeping. All of the campsites are on the ocean, right on the Pacific Ocean. There's nothing between you and Japan, basically. And it was, you carry everything, your tents and your food and everything. So quite a haul, but it was truly transformative and not a plug, because it's not for the faint of heart. It's super inconvenient. Like logging roads and cable cars and boats and everything to get there. But it was so transformative. It was just unzipping your tent into the like roaring Pacific at 3 a.m. And the moon and it was just so transformative. And then each campsite is right at a either waterfall or river. And that's where you fill up your water, you jump in the water. And so, yeah, it was an amazing, we got to the end of the trail and we could kind of see civilization there. And my wife and Elle and I, we turned back and we're like, I don't want to leave. Yeah, it was some more of that.
Yes.
I would say if folks are listening, look it up. If you have a chance, do it. Yeah, it's just you strip away a lot of the unnecessary stuff and you focus on what do you need,
Yeah.
coffee, dried fruit.
So true. It's really that simple.
No, super epic. We saw like pods and pods of humpback whales.
Wow.
Like fully coming up, and they're I guess baleen whales, so they filter this big accordion through krill. And then as we're passing, and we didn't see very many people, so we saw these whales from the perch, and then we're hiking along, didn't see very, very many people. And then these people said, it was like, hey, kilometer 21, that's like up there, there's a beached whale. So sad,
Yeah.
super sad. But as we came around, and it was probably, I don't know, 500 meters, I'm converting to metric, but 500 meters, you see this monstrosity, this giant like the enormity. So while sad to see this and tragic, I don't know what happened. I don't think they knew what happened, but it was fairly fresh. And but just to see the enormity of these beings, yeah. So, anyways, I'm still glowing as a result.
Yeah, I
I
can
would
tell.
say
I love it.
I want to do more of that. That kind of strips out some of the unnecessary noise and.
Yeah, I think there's so many great perspectives that come from spending time in nature. You realize what's important, what you value, and doing it with people that you love is so wonderful. You get to have really meaningful conversations, especially away from technology.
Yes.
Being in touch with peace and grounding and
Yes.
beautiful trees and water and the sparkles of the ocean. You appreciate these things that you can walk by a million times and not even recognize.
Yeah.
And
Do you know the concept of like forest bathing?
No.
So I think the Japanese adopt this, but it's actually the bathing in the just oxygen rich, negative ion rich forest canopy. You actually get this feel good. So we were just hours and hours in this like rich forest exchange.
Yeah.
This old growth forest.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I believe
more,
it.
More forest bathing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, historically, my mind is just always buzzing and working and thinking about a million different things at once. And I'd say pretty anxious thoughts often. And I'm so much better now about that. But one of the key moments of my life was going backpacking. And it was the first time it was quiet. Like I didn't have a single thought. I didn't even know that was possible. I really thought that I was just like a hyperactive human. And when I was out there, I was like, maybe it was a minute, maybe two, I don't know. But I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't had a thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was even 20 seconds, but it felt like a real refresh. And then I was just observing, really paying attention to the flower that I saw or the color of the tree. And then, I just think that, and I know this is a father-daughter podcast, but it's these moments that are important to remember and important to give to your daughter,
Yes.
Because life can be really chaotic, especially for a young woman, especially with social media and technology and distractions and pressure and all these things.
Yep.
And getting outside in nature and just remembering what's important.
1,000%.
It's a gift.
I had maybe it was a teacher. I can't remember if it was a friend or a teacher, but it stuck with me. Their point stuck with me was recreation is actually recreation. And nature allows you to recreate. And it takes some time. So you can't just go walk down to the beach or walk into the forest and like, boom, it turns on.
Right.
But after about 20 minutes, half an hour, you start that recreation. You start that recreation and building from that. So I totally agree.
Yeah. Oh. I want to talk a little bit more about Elle too, specifically how you've seen her grow and evolve throughout her years, her 25 years, and maybe some moments within those years that have made you feel extra proud.
Absolutely. I very proud of my daughter. My daughter is fierce. She is brave. Her middle name is Brave. And we encouraged her, we forced her to have the right amount of agency and autonomy. And because we were with her, there was go out and come back, go out and come back. And having that, the go out part is super important and encouraging that. And then having the come back, as opposed to, oh, no, don't go out. Don't wait. Hold on. Before you go out, this, and that. And so we built that independence and agency and encouraged her from the start to be brave. No, go ask them. You want some more whipping cream on your pancakes? Go ask them at 3 or 5 or whatever. So she took that and ran with that. And is the first to say, I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to go ask for those things. And because she saw me fixing the tire, she saw me doing this. She's the first one to go do that. She's the first one to kind of roll up her sleeves and go do that. And it's been an interesting journey. So she was homeschooled for the first, all the way up through middle school. We always said, hey, whenever you want to go, if you want to go, we're kind of hippies, but whenever you want to go, if you want to go, it's up to you. So they tried middle school. They're like, no. And then of course the murmuring of like, oh, how are they going to get socialized? And how are they going to block that, ignored that? So, but her first year at school fully was high school. And that was happening right at the time when phones came out, that every human and every girl has a phone. And so best of times, worst of times.
Right.
And navigating that then this person who has agency, this person who has maturity and has dealt with multiple levels, is now dealing with a band of 14, 15-year-old girls, right? Who have done the game in the school program. And that's an interesting one to step into. So there were some milestones and transitions of first going to school that thankfully she had an anchor, a really solid anchor, and B, it was friggin' challenging because you referenced it. We're going through this social experiment where you have these amazing communication tools that can also be used for, I would say, I don't know, defamation or othering, or those are super powerful things that our females and our males are facing. So she navigated those. That was interesting. I think she navigated those things successfully, and she's many years graduated now, and she's in a nursing program and is navigating that right now as well. But I think it was a mixture of having the tools, and then also one of my guiding principles as a father was I truly believe the universe has sharp edges. And some of those things you have to learn the hard way. And as a parent, if you're taping up the corners of the tables and filling the plugs and making sure, like, you're creating a safe space that when they go out into that world that's all of a sudden not taped up and safe, you may find out the hard way. So we lived with, the universe has some sharp edges. A lot of them have been sanded down. A lot of them have been walled off, but they're still out there. And there's things you want to do and things you don't want to do. And there's things so she learned some of those things the hard way. We learned some of those things the hard way. Yeah. You don't pitch a tent with your friends in the front yard. And so, yeah, but,
were there any specific examples of this navigation of technology for Elle and really the high school experience as a whole and how she did navigate those, or maybe difficult conversations that you helped her navigate through? I think this is a topic that's on a lot of dads' minds, especially right now with the amount of technology and distractions and, trying to ground the daughter early so that she has her core sense of being before being introduced to technology, I think is key. But I think it's just a time right now for dads who have a lot of questions.
I think there's two parts of that. One would be a dad perspective and a message to dad, is that I think there's some things called unteachable lessons. I'm going to tell you this, and it's like this, and you're going to have to go learn that because you don't believe me. You don't believe me. But I think the parent's role, what I've taken heart and I've learned to believe and realize, is that those lessons are actually going in there. They're actually going in there, and that they're locked in. They may not be able to actually execute on those, but they're going in there. So the lesson for the dad is, don't stop. You got to do it. You got to exercise your voice. You got to say, doesn't make sense to go on this trip using your own car and the other girl's not paying and whatever example. Right. So use your voice and know that your voice may not be listened to, but it is heard, and they're going to come out the other side. And then I think the perspective, I would say, for our young women is you've got some powerful forces out there. There are some powerful forces that are mainlining these 1,000+ year-old ideas into your brain, right into the amygdala, right into of avarice, envy, greed, like some pretty powerful things. And to think that you are the one person who can be immune to those, or the one person who can avoid those and not get the waves crashed over you, be careful. Dad voice saying, be careful. And then start to put some names around that and say, okay, I'm going to put some limits. And what do I replace this phone time here with? I replace it with some hiking and walking. Dads, take heart and know that your role is to exercise your voice and use your voice, and you're wrong if you don't use your voice. You may not be listened to, but you will be heard. Yeah. And then daughters, do some studies on, like, why do we have these social contagions? You've studied the idea of social contagions.
No,
So cutting, bulimia, anorexia, like why are they coming in? Yeah. And populations are surging in these phenomena that are targeting. So understand that those things are real, and you have a device that can now bring those right into your core being. So learn some healthy limits and find some alternatives. It's a powerful tool. There's some real good that can be created, some amazing community and connection, but also realize that, wow, there's some big things that are Carl Jung said that people don't have ideas. Ideas have people.
Yep.
And we're seeing this, they're seeing this out.
Yeah.
So
It's so true. I think a great place to start too for dads is just having these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
Like being open and honest with your daughters, talking about these kinds of risks and the fact that there are bigger powers at play, and you're essentially being used as one player in this whole ecosystem of social media, and you can be fed things that aren't good for you, and just being aware of those things and allowing the daughter to experience or share her experience with you as a dad and talk through things. If there's something that she sees that is bothering her,
Yeah.
being able to talk about what that is and why it's bothering her. And just being a source of support and love and comfort rather than, just imposing rules like no phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And without giving your why. I'm a big fan of dads stating their why. Everybody should state their why, because it helps us understand one another and where we're coming from. And a lot of times there's a really good reason for things, but if we don't say why, then it feels like an attack, or
Right.
you can make up your own stories as to why. So getting really clear on where you're at and how you're coming at it with love too. Because at the end of the day, you're just trying to protect her, trying to have her live a beautiful life, and you have a lot of amazing wisdom as a father to a daughter. You do know a lot of what's good for her and what's not good for her. But, everyone's always the oldest we've ever been, right? So when your daughter is 16, that's what she knows.
Yeah.
She feels really independent and she feels old and mature. But when she's 30, she's going to look back and think, wow, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because the father really has a unique responsibility, and it's a super powerful responsibility. You are imprinting an image of maleness on your daughter that then becomes a match for their entire, like, what you, okay, that's, better take that weight really, really carefully. Now, I've been thinking a lot about there's this transition of peer and superior and parenting relationships that happens as my daughter's gotten older and I've gotten older, is you kind of start in this asymmetrical relationship where I'm the father, you're the daughter, I'm responsible for taking care of you. And naturally over time, that kind of evolves a little bit. And you hit on it, which reminded me of that, which is your role is not to be their best friend. Your role is to say, I'm your father, I'm your protector, I'm your parent. But naturally knowing that is changing, and over time, yeah, you will hit this kind of peer, almost this peer relationship, and too soon, that doesn't work, right? There has to be some natural separation. Be a child, be an adult, but it's naturally happening, and then if we're fortunate enough to see the full life cycle growth, then there's this interesting things happens we see with older parents, is that they need parenting at a certain point. And the child becomes the parent. But again, too soon, like that's a burden for the child. But knowing that is changing, and then I think each side, the parent and the child, can exercise that. You can role play on some parenting. That's good. Start to flex that muscle. Okay, you can role play on some peer type. That first time where we're, the father and the son have their first beer or whatever, kind of thing. Right? You can role play on the peer thing. Too early, too late, no. And then also the child parenting the parent. So this, if we're lucky, that evolves, and there's enough love and flexibility in the relationship that can happen.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've taught Elle many, many things over her 25 years, but what are some things that stand out to you on what she's taught you?
I love that question. I think if you framed it, so what did I teach her? I could probably just like rattle off a bunch of things,
Right.
what did she teach me? I think I hold firm that you're the younger generation, because they have a bigger, different view of the future, they're a voice of the future. So I've always just kept my ears open, my mind open, my heart open to what is your voice telling me? What is it? And so I've kept my heart and my mind open. So I'm always listening. So I'll bounce things off of her, and we'll bounce ideas off each other. So I think there's a myriad of things, whether it's should I wear this, or small stuff, or just bouncing certain things. But I'm also sensitive that, look, there's certain things I don't want to burden you with. You've got your own kind of things. So I think just general guidance and navigating and perspective around getting additional perspective that I think in general is the role of the family.
Yeah.
It's like I, as an individual, I'm going to ebb and flow in my life. I'm going to have these high highs and low lows. But your family is kind of like saying, oh, it's good. Oh, too high. Oh, too low. So she really helps me there and kind of sounding things out and balancing me. Yeah. And I do the same, and we do that for each other.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think you meet everyone to learn something from, right? Everyone in your life, you can learn a lesson or feel a great feeling or a sad feeling, and you learn from that too. But what's really beautiful about family is forever, right? So you have all these different kinds of experiences of learning and wonderful conversations and ebbs and flows of who's teaching who what, but it's this container it's an expansive container, but it's like, this is forever.
It is, if you're lucky and if you invest in it. And that's the contract. And I did this kind of metaphor, hand waving, but I think this also happens too. This can happen in families too, and happen in relationships. And sometimes that's because that investment and reaffirmation and retouch base isn't happening. And it can happen because sometimes something's been violated. And I think that if we are lucky, we have that capital F family and that boundary and that larger conscience that can support us. But it's not, every party has to invest in that. Every party has to invest in that.
Yeah.
Blood is thicker than water, but it's not, made of diamonds. It's not infinitely. So
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Capital F family and capital F forever. And you have to.
Yes, invest.
You have to invest in order for that to be true. Yeah, that's true. My dad just always said, sisters are forever, family is forever. And I think that his actions proved that to such an extent that my reality is like, that's the truth. Family is forever. My sisters are forever. Even if we were little girls, like having a silly fight or whatever, which wasn't a huge thing, but of course there was little things. And, he would say, sisters are best friends. You will grow up and you will be best friends. Just watch. And I kind of was even thinking like, you don't know anything, as a little girl. And now I'm like, they are my best friends. We do things, just the three of us together. And we'll go out to bars together. And when we meet people, they're like, wait, you guys are sisters? We're like, yeah, and it's not because we don't look like we do. It's not that. It's the fact that we're having so much fun together. And I didn't realize how rare that was until recently. Yeah. And I feel very lucky and blessed. But to your point, it's a shared buy-in and constant effort.
Yeah.
And a family group chat that every day is going off because we're in constant communication, sharing photos, seeing what everyone's up to, caring, loving. And you have to put in the work and be intentional about that.
Then you're truly blessed. If you have that and you have that reciprocity, then you're truly blessed. And I know there are situations where a rift has happened in a family, or a break in trust, or a break in just in general, and it hasn't been reconciled. I think there's a more easier avenue for reconciliation, but it can't be taken for granted. I know there are situations where it's like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to invest in that, or so.
Yeah, that's true too.
And there's ways to fill that. There's ways to build community and intentional family and other pieces. But if you're blessed enough to have a mother and a father, or two mothers or two fathers with a vision and a net and a cup that can hold that, and then people who want to participate in that, then you're truly blessed.
I feel very blessed. But to your point, I think community and family can be beyond blood, big time.
Yeah.
And I feel that a lot here in Austin. There's a huge community feel. And even, the other day, Elle led a fascia release yoga session, and that was wonderful to experience. And she did a great job, by the way. Her presence was powerful but calm, and she can command attention, but in like a very supporting and loving way. And everyone, I had maybe met people that day, and it already felt like a family type of situation. So that's another wonderful thing about human connection and relationships. You can choose your family too, and it's really about who you're investing your time with. And for the purpose of this podcast, I love when fathers invest time with their daughters, because I think it has such a ripple effect on the world. But yeah, it's important for everyone to just find that human connection and understand one another better. And I think it starts with conversations like these, where we talk about human connection and how we work, how we think, what's important to us.
It can be messy. It can be messy and complex, and you need persistence sometimes in it, and you need to. There's some loose ends that can stay untied, but then there's some things that it doesn't have to be everybody's participating all at once, and we're just I love you too. Some of those things do need to close out though, and they need that continued investment. I think that's super important, and but I think what I'm gonna call it capital C community.
Ooh, I like that.
And we're building some of that here for
Definitely.
sure, with intention, and some good things are happening.
Oh, well, I think we're coming up on time here, but I would love for you to finish with a final piece of advice for all the dads listening, and then one piece of advice for Elle.
Dads. Can I get two advice for dads? Okay.
Please.
So understand the rainbow of emotions. There's a person, you can find him online, named Joe Hudson, and he has this beautiful quote. It is that joy is the matriarch of a family of emotions, and she will not enter a house where all of her children are not welcome. So fathers, sometimes we're stuck with anger, or we're stuck with communicating our feelings, and we transfer that to our kids. We need to work on that. We need to loosen that up. We need to say that all of Joy's children are welcome, and when they're welcome and we understand them and we give them healthy expression, then joy will truly come in. So we're not always taught as men to have anything but a big black paintbrush of, this is everything. Start to unwind that, start to unpack that, start to learn that, and start to let that happen in your family, and find ways to direct that. That's point one. And point two is that as you're a father, as you're raising your child, you're in chaos. You're in the cauldron. You're in beautiful chaos. And you may wish for that chaos to be orderly, but when that chaos kind of moves on and changes, you will miss that chaos. So learn to surf. Learn to bathe in the glow of the chaos, and that is your gift, and navigate it and be strong. So two pieces of advice for
Thank
dads.
you.
And then Elle, use your voice. Keep doing what you're doing. I show up at her hot on it functional fitness class 2 times a week. I'm right there in the front row, rocking it out to hip hop. Hip hop. So keep doing that. Be fierce. Lead. Be brave. She knows those things. She knows those things. And then I would say shine. And then can you shine brighter? And then once you're shining brighter, can you shine even brighter?
Wow. Thank you, Chris. This was a wonderful conversation.
Madeline.
I'm so
Thank you.
grateful for you and
Likewise.
for your time.
Likewise. Thank you.